Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Out doing some storm watching. We just had a fairly significant storm blow through. No tornadoes. Just south of us, it looks like it got the worst of it. We did get some 70-mile-an-hour winds or better and a bunch of hail in certain places. So I've been out checking. I've already cleared a couple of trees off the road. That's kind of one of the things I try to do right after the storms, just go out and see what's going on, make sure that the roads are at least passable. There's not really road crews up here. I mean, there kind of is, and you know, we can call in the state road crew if it's necessary, but they're not. There's nothing stationed right around here, so they have to be called in from another part of the county. So we usually try to get out, whether it's our emergency response team or the fire department, or both. We're all working together. I try to get out and make sure that the roads are clear. So far it's not too bad, and I think the worst of it's over. But for the next few days, we've got a lot of rain, and there has been a significant amount of rain poured out today. A lot of the ditches and stuff were full, and I'd say the creeks are definitely rising right as I speak, because we had a lot come down. Stuff's going on, right? I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but things are happening. It's crazy. Yes, it still looks like that there's some big attack against Iran. British news is now reporting today that they have intelligence, they have whatever information that the United States and Israel are planning an attack on Iran. That's not really a big secret. And then also Iran is planning on either a preemptive attack or just defending itself. They've shut down the airway above Iran in places, and there's word that they are on the highest level of alert and all this kind of stuff. So who knows what's going to happen. It could be nothing. I mean, that's probably still the most likely scenario, is that nothing will happen. But I think that the reality of it actually going full contact red is becoming more and more of a reality. So what do? You just, I guess you wait and see. Oil's gone up. Stock market's all wonky. Gold has gone up again. Today, the president announced 25% tariffs on auto imports, 10% tariffs on pretty much everything and imported in. All kinds of reciprocal tariffs. It just tariffs all across the board. And that they're supposed to take place starting tomorrow. Some of them immediately. So it'll take a little time for that to trickle down to you and I, because like if you went out today or tomorrow and bought something, obviously that didn't have a tariff on it. But at some point in the near future, a lot of the things that you buy are going to have a tariff on it. And so you may, or most likely, will see prices increased because of that. And that's going to hurt. Everybody knows that. That's why the stock market's not doing so well. That's why so many of these economists have been saying that, we're headed for a real rough spot in the economy. Even the president himself has indicated that that's the direction that we're going right now. Maybe it's all for a good reason. Maybe it's not. I think personally it's just one more excuse to bring about, a cryptocurrency and this big digital revolution. That's just part of it. But yeah, I think that's going to happen. Man, this road got washed out pretty decently. This road always gets washed out. It's just, there's several springs along this road, little creeks that cross it, and it doesn't take too much rain for these things to get pretty washed out. So anyways, that's kind of a quick little rundown, I guess, of what's going on. I'm sure there's other significant things, but oh well, right? What does all that mean for you and I? I mean, is it really that significant for you and I that, we go to war against Iran? Is it really that significant that, tariffs happen? I mean, how many of you plan on buying a new car in the next 6 to 12 months? Probably not a lot, because new cars are already overpriced. They're not worth it. It's like there's no good new cars on the market anymore. They're all just junk, okay? You ask any decent, good mechanic, and they'll probably tell you that just about every new car on the market today is junk. Man, this road here, I'm driving through a good 4 or 5 inches of water right now. And I hope that's been washed out pretty good. Yeah, I could make it. All right, we're good. I mean, it's hard to tell because I could tell the road was washed out. Wasn't sure how deep it was, but we're all right. Anyways, so how significant is it that it's going to affect you and I? It will. I mean, it's just, how significant is it? Something you should worry about? Here's the thing, and I've tried to get this point across. Most of you get it. I think there's something much bigger at play than just war with Iran or the Houthis or Russia, Ukraine, Europe, China, Taiwan, who knows, whatever. I think it's something a lot bigger than tariffs and inflation, and we're watching our world, not just our country, but our world go through a massive change. A lot of people are looking forward to that. A lot of people believe that it's good change, because here's the thing, what we've had going on for the last few decades stinks. Any way you look at it. I don't care. Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, that's not in order. Obama, all of them. Our country has stunk for a while. Corruption, debt, massive amounts of debt, 36 trillion or more. Morality levels are just continually dropping. Everything, education levels, just, everything, birth rates, it's all going downhill. Like, just about all the parameters that you can look at indicate over the last 5 decades, the United States is kind of in a downward spiral. And you can say the same thing about a lot of the rest of the world. I mean, some places are developing more and faster, but still, the world itself is just going through kind of an ick stage. Almost kind of like a little mini dark age in a way. And I think that that's all much more significant than just the specifics of what's going on, because those specifics can change from time to time. There can be little bursts of the stock market's going up, people are making money, or Bitcoin, and then it goes back down. All that kind of stuff is cyclical. But the bigger picture is that we're watching the world just kind of go through a dark, kind of ugly era. And a lot of us think that it could be what's leading up to, the end times. It's very possible, very likely, especially the way things are playing out, the significance of stuff. I think this has all been pre-planned. I mean, you can go back and look at, Masonic plans back in the 1800s, Club of Rome, all the Illuminati and the Great Reset and the World Economic Forum. All these different things and many, many more for the last century or two has been this march towards a more controlling government by just a few, but not just a government that controls. It's to control you and I. And I know this has been an ongoing theme on this channel if you've watched me for any length of time. It's not just so that they can control you and control your movements and control your money and your spending and all this kind of stuff. And it's not even that they can control your thoughts. I think it's that they want to control and own you on a molecular level, on a DNA level. And I think the significance of that is, and the reason for that is because that is like God level, right? That's God level control. They want to control that. They want to be able to manipulate and control that. And I think it's because these people at the very, very top of the totem pole they view themselves as gods. Little g. They want to be the big G. They ain't never going to be that, of course. They want to remove the Most High from our lives. They want us to look at them as the Savior, as the Messiah. You know, they want everything to be in war and falling apart, and then they will come up with this miraculous solution. You know, amazing how that works, right? You know, they want the economies to fall apart. They want the currencies to collapse. They want debt to be up past our eyeballs, and disease and hatred and strife and turmoil and division to all be bad, right? And then they're going to offer this, you know, this ultimate solution of peace and prosperity. I know this sounds like some kind of crazy conspiracy theory, but it's quite true. There's plenty of documentation to back it up, and the most significant piece of documentation to back it up is the Bible. And that's what we're watching. And this really goes back centuries, but really in the last century or so has it really ramped up. And I think it's because they're finally getting to a place with technology and everything else that they can do these things. And so when we're watching all of this stuff go on, you know, whether or not we're going to go to war with Iran, whether or not the dollar is going to collapse, whether or not the tariffs are going to push us into depression, all of these things, you know, are we going to get those rebate checks Elon Musk promised, or, you know, they're going to audit Fort Knox or show us the Epstein client list, you know, all of these things. Some of them are distraction, and some of them are just things that are kind of moving us further down the goal line, the field to the goal. And that is to be able to control us. And so to me, the ultimate way of separating yourselves from that is, number one, have an ever closer relationship with the Father. You know, seek to be as like as you can to his son Yeshua. That's really a big purpose of his coming to earth, to showing himself in human form, was to say, hey, let me show you how this works, right? Let me show you how to live. Be like me. We need to do that first of all. And then we need to do our best to live a life where we have separated ourselves from all of this. You know, we've as a human species over the last century, we've become very dependent upon the system, all of it. The government system, the utility system, the supply chain system, all of it. And it's made us less and less independent. And so from just strictly a prepping perspective, we need to be finding a way all the time to become more self-sufficient. I know you're not going to be completely self-sufficient. I know that the average person cannot completely cut all ties and completely secede from society. But looking at the bigger picture and what is happening, bigger than, you know, politics, bigger than war, bigger than the economy, we have to be doing our best to be less dependent, less attached, less tethered to this system. That's why I think doing it as a group of people, as a small group of people that know and trust each other, works great for that. Getting away from the big cities and getting away from all the people and the hustle and bustle and more government helps out a lot. Learning to produce stuff for yourself. Your own food, your own water, your own energy, all that kind of stuff. Do as much for yourself as you can, or at least have the ability to do as much for yourself. Those are some things that can get you closer to that place to where you don't need the system. It's not perfect. It's going to be hard, but this is the road that we're on, folks. And even though it doesn't, for some of you that may not be fully awake to it yet, it may not look that way, because we've been on this road for a long time. And it looks just like it's progress, right? This is just advancement. It's just humans progressing and advancing and inventing new things and developing new ways to do things. But if you really dig, you can see that it's because certain people along the way have directed that, have have directed that advancement and progress because, well, they want to be in charge. And we have, well, most people have just, they become so accustomed to it that they don't see it. So it's there if you dig, if you look. And the best way to get away from it is just to stop needing it that much. I know that's a huge hurdle for a lot of you, maybe even impossible for some of you. But the dark days are coming, folks. They're coming. When? That I can't tell you. It appears that it's sooner than we think, but they're definitely coming. And so we need to be preparing ourselves for that, not just for war or for economic collapse or pandemics or whatever, but we need to be preparing ourselves for this kind of new dark age that I think is very likely going to lead us down the path to the end times. So get ready, get your houses in order, prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.